All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Purple Podcast. This is your host, Austin. And as you can see on screen here, I'm joined by my two fellow colleagues here, one remotely, one in booth with me. We got some video rolling for you guys. It didn't take all too long here. We got around to doing it. So hopefully nothing fucks up throughout the process here. Nothing messes up in getting it uploaded. But yeah, we got some video. This is now a video podcast. And look at me. I'm wearing my corduroy Wes Anderson jacket here, as well as my Wes Anderson shirt with all the color schemes.
Austin, do you remember you were going to give away that shirt probably 2 months ago or so? So
yeah,
what say you now?
What say me now? Now it came back to use it. I thought about wearing my Good Luck Out There shirt with the wolf from the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Well, you were going to get rid of that one too, if you remember.
Yeah, I might have. Well, the thing is, they're getting a little dingy. They're getting a little dingy and beat up, but this is a perfect situation to lean on those and get back into them. So I still got them. Haven't worn it in a bit. I've already worn my Good Luck Out There one on a podcast for a picture. So it's like, I can't wear the same thing every week. Like this guy to my left here, the guy who wears the Hot Work sweatshirt every week.
Yeah. Hey, Dad. Yeah, we need you to start looking the part. Now that we're a video podcast and all.
That's what I mean. It's
honestly, Griffin, I had no faith in him that he was going to be able to get this up and running. So just kind of popped over here this morning with this on. So apologies, guys.
Well, we did have to lean on Mike's laptop here because my MacBook Pro is no longer cutting it's not cutting it anymore with all the inputs, all the video and audio. So we're going to have to retire that one and send that one away.
Well, something else to consider. I feel like we can get a little meta here. Are we going to be having the video run while the intro song starts?
I already got it all. I got it all covered, man.
No, I mean, are we going to fade in though? I think I realized as the intro music was playing, we were just sitting here like robots. And I guess that'll be in the video. Because we were just kind of chilling
No, I have them set up as scenes. So what happens is it has the Purple Podcast logo when that's playing.
Oh,
and then
nice.
I press space and it fades into, us ugly mugs or our ugly mugs on the camera here.
Actually, Griffin, we were dancing during the intro, but it's what we always do.
You were dancing?
Yeah,
I was watching you. You weren't dancing.
Oh, yeah. I see you.
Are we allowed to show branding or anything?
Well, I mean,
you just
You know what this is, Dad?
This is
yeah. That's Frisch's.
Hey, man, we're going to get Frisch's to sponsor us. That's what I think we need.
There you go.
Yeah, you guys.
Maybe I can get a big boy out of the deal.
We need some big boys.
What you guys at home may not know is that Mike, growing up, funny as it sounds, man, Mike is the big boy. He's Frisch's big boy.
Oh, he's funny. He's
all right,
guys. Today.
So what we're doing here today, we've already kind of discussed old Wes Anderson here, but we're talking about his new film, that being his 13th, The Phoenician Scheme. In cutting to the chase, I would say, Mike, thank you for being a good sport here and going out and seeing it. I know this one's a little above, kind of probably what you're looking for in terms of a movie.
Above his what, intelligence? Is that what you were trying to say, Austin?
Well, let's not humiliate the guy, right?
Well, guys, let's start off with, if that is intelligence, what I watched last night, then I am the dumbest SOB on the planet then, okay?
Right.
No, I actually kind of to kick this thing off, guys, the first, and we heard this on several, I listened to a couple podcasts when I got home, but the first third of this, it was entertaining. Wouldn't you say, Austin?
I would say, this is, as someone who is a big Wes Anderson fan.
And you are?
You cannot but maybe he is incredibly divisive. And what you hear from a lot of these podcasts, but videos, anything, is just how split the opinion can be with his things or with his movies, just because they are so intricate. There's so much layering and they're so literary that sometimes they get caught up and don't even get out of their own way to where the story may struggle and you find yourself struggling to connect. And that's where I think in his best movies, I would, let's just go ahead and say this isn't his best movie in my opinion, and probably not in most people. If you're not a giant Wes Anderson film, love his style, love his techniques and his filmmaking, just kind of choices, you're probably not going to love this one. Truthfully, it's not a very commercial film by any means. And, you know, as someone who does like him, I still struggled. And this is something that I think we're seeing with kind of the direction that he's gone in his past 3 films, even with The French Dispatch, Asteroid City, and then in here, The Phoenician Scheme.
Did you watch Asteroid City? I was kind of wondering.
Yeah, so I saw Asteroid City in theater. Beautiful, as all of his films.
Oh wow!
No doubt.
They're gorgeous. Everyone says it. This guy is his own genre at this point, right? Yeah. There's no one else making movies like this, and that's what's so brilliant about him. And you know, that's what sucks too. Is like it can be so good, but at the same time, it can also get in its own way. The thing that is his greatest superpower can also be his greatest, I guess, hindrance sometimes.
Well, and we had spoken a little bit before we actually got on, and you kind of mentioned something really difficult is, hey, if you like miss one tiny bit of dialogue in this very literary kind of detached style, if you miss any of that, you kind of get lost, and then it's just like this cycle of being progressively more lost and confused by what's happening. I mean, I can say that in the theater that I was in, it was honestly really difficult to understand what they were saying a lot of times. And I think it was kind of, there was a lot of like mumbling, there was a lot of accent work, and just like little moments where you're like, what the hell did he say? And it's like there's like a bit, you know, there were some big scenes. I mentioned the one with Newbar at the end, and it's like, what did he say? Like, I didn't even get it, and you could tell that was like the punchline. I was like, oh my god, like I don't even like following this movie. It was just it was kind of difficult for you know, elements kind of maybe that you wouldn't have even anticipated.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it strays into like pretentiousness.
No, I think that's very fair to say.
Of course. But like, yeah, like you said, there's so much going on. There's so much happening. There's so much to pay attention to in every set and every scene. That's a lot of the fun in it. But when you're having dialogue going at 1,000,000 miles per hour, saying things in an unorthodox manner, the way his dialogue is written, it's very Wes Anderson, that yes, you get lost. And if you miss one thing, you're going to miss the next thing trying to figure out what the fuck you just missed, basically.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you have that kind of snowball effect to where you kind of get lost. And with this one, I was pretty excited, to be honest. After you get that first scene, and within the first 5 minutes, you have that guy get sucked out of the plane.
He gets blown up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, this might be like fun and a return to like some of that, you know, a more linear story with Asteroid City, with French Dispatch. Those two have been very jump around, different stories entwined, and so much literary and rhetorical shit going on that by the end of it, you're kind of like, I need to read something. I need to watch a video to kind of get me on the scent a little more.
Yeah, but I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I mean, I think we did the same exact thing with this movie because, you know, I left it last night saying, what the hell am I going to talk about? I don't even know. I knew 2 characters by name by the end of it. And it's like, and again, like I'm sure we'll get into it deeper. Like I enjoyed a lot about it for, you know, various reasons, but in terms of just it being cohesive, something that you can follow easily, something that can just be consumed and enjoyed, like it is difficult. And I think that is kind of just a calling card of his work, of Wes Anderson's work. And, you know, there's this kind of feeling that I have of, man, am I just like not understanding what's happening? Is this like this vast intellectualism that's flying over my head? And I think that is the case to some degree. But I also think there is an element of maybe the work just being kind of confusing and roundabout in this way that, you know, anybody is going to feel. So I don't know what the through line is there.
What I'm getting at with comparing it to Asteroid City or like kind of bringing up Asteroid City, bringing up French Dispatch, I would have likened this one to that. Yes. Where at the end of it, I didn't that way. I thought it might be more linear in the beginning. And I think that's where it picks up the most steam when we have those three core characters of Zaza Corda, which I think in terms of Wes Anderson, this was kind of a return to at least one main character. We had in that way. In the past two, it's been really jumping around and even more messy. This one at least had that character. And where the movie had some steam was with him, Zaza Corda, played by Benicio del Toro. Sister Liesel, who is Mia Thrappleton, is her name. I don't know if it's her first acting debut, but it's her first Wes Anderson movie. She's Kate Winslet's daughter, actually.
Well, it's Benicio's as well, is it not?
Oh, I mean, is that his daughter?
No.
I'm saying
no. I'm saying this is Benicio's first Wes Anderson film.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
It is not.
No.
Oh, you sure about that? What's the one that he was in?
He was previously in French Dispatch for certain.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I thought I heard that.
Okay. No, this wasn't his first one. Mia Thrappleton, played by Kate Winslet, but she does well. And then Bjorn, fucking Michael Cera, who, let's go ahead and say it, was the funniest character in the movie. I don't think there's any doubt to that. The guy I thought was really good in it. And that's what's kind of interesting. Is there any character? Is there any acting that's like, I don't like that character? Not really. Like, I think it's well acted. It's well shot. It's just,
that's a good point.
I think it's just, in terms of plot, too messy. We start out when it's a little linear and we have those three core characters. That's where it's really fun. And they got some good dialogue going on with the intro. The guy gets sucked out. Corda is in his next plane crash. He is this, we haven't even touched on the overview of the goddamn movie, but this guy is some kind of millionaire mogul who deals in, I guess, kind of shady business to some extent with a bunch of other very powerful people. The whole movie is a kind of, I guess, discussion of like the power, the wealth, and these kind of characters. And then there's that whole God complex within it. So that's what I mean. When it opens up and still starts going into more and more depths and gets wider and wider and broader, I don't think it's done effective enough to where like you kind of lose sight of the characters. You lose sight of really like attaching to anyone because it's just so kind of messy and maybe convoluted to some degree. You just lose, the plot gets lost for lack of a better term.
And I mean, it kind of, to me, it just becomes, with any really great movie, right? I think you want to be immersed. You want to forget you're watching a movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying anything revelatory here. I think during this whole Phoenician Scheme, you are keenly aware that you're watching a movie that, you kind of get, and maybe you want that to happen. Maybe you want to be analyzing it from this kind of outside perspective of just like, oh, like, look at this shot he had. That was really great. Oh, wow, like, Benicio did, he's a damn good actor. You might be thinking those things as it's happening, which can be really gratifying in a sense. But at the same time, I think when you just get introduced to these bigger and bigger characters, I mean, I'm watching, all of a sudden freaking Tom Hanks is on the screen. I'm like, holy shit, that's Tom Hanks. And then I'm like, oh my God, that's Bryan Cranston. It's like, what the hell is happening? And then all of these things are just swinging around, and it's like you said, I think it gets a bit over bloated. And I think it's just like, at a certain point, you're just kind of, the jig is up in a way. It's just like, man, I don't know. I mean, what am I even watching at this point? It's just kind of this, it almost feels like this kind of, I can't even think of good ways to describe it. Kind of just like this indulgence. It just feels indulgent. That's what it is.
Yeah. And, I'm sure Wes Anderson had a blast making it. I'm sure he loves the film in its own way, but it's definitely self-indulgent. It is obviously self-indulgent. His quirks and his quips are on display, his filmmaking techniques, the beauty of it. It's undeniable. The sets are gorgeous. One thing that I have to say about that, though, is as the sets go, and, he's very purposeful with his color choices as well, there was also kind of like a little too much gray in this one, maybe for my liking, to where
too much gray.
Well, there's like the scenes back at his house where it's like kind of dark and musty and dusty, and then those God scenes are kind of pretty off-putting too. The whole thing about that, and then you have like fucking Excalibur and the Knights at the Round Table, the intelligence group. There's so much that's just jumping around.
What the hell is that? Like I couldn't even tell if that was real time. I couldn't tell if that was like some sort of device of this group kind of speaking over events that happened in the past. For a moment, I was like, oh shit, is this like this weird, like, I don't have ways to even describe this, but I was like, is this just some group that is kind of deliberating on what has already happened? Are they assessing this? Or is this real time? They are like on the hunt for this man and tracing his whereabouts.
They're the guys that put Bjorn on. Sorry that you got something.
Oh, they put Bjorn on. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's his group,
guys. I mean, listen to you two. I mean, you all are going, hey, you're trying. I mean, you're trying to figure this out. What, let's face it. What the hell did we watch, guys? That was it reminded me of back in my day, Pink Panther movies, Monty Python, where let's face it. And I got to ask you all, does Wes Anderson, does he partake? He has to partake. To come up with that kind of movie, with that quirky, I mean, let's face it. You can interpret that any way you want. It was, don't you feel like it was, you walked out of there, as Griffin said, and you're like, what in the hell did I watch? While Austin and I were in, I've got to make this comment.
Yeah.
While we're in, this couple was sitting beside me, and all of a sudden they get up, and I'm like, oh, they've got to go to the bathroom. They never returned. And I've been to movies where they're that bad, but you go, oh, wow. I have been to maybe 2 movies in my life where I've got up and just left. It was that bad. This one, Austin, it wasn't that. I'm not going to say that. No. I was entertained. Benicio del Toro, he reminded me of Inspector Clouseau. I thought that's where it was going, especially when the guy got blown up. And that was a really fun. It wasn't funny. First of all, let me say that nothing was funny in the whole movie. I
thought there were some funny moments.
I never laughed. Now I will say, the fellow from is it Superbad?
Michael Cera.
Oh my gosh! I think he stole the movie. Yeah. I thought he was really.
This is his first.
I thought he did really well.
What's funny about that, and not funny about that, but there's been discussions, and I think this is what people are ultimately probably going to pull from this movie, which maybe speaks to its legacy in itself, and that it's not going to be remembered necessarily for its actual story, but
it's not going to be remembered. Austin, let's face it.
Well, I think Michael Cera has solidified himself as a Wes Anderson player going forward. This is his first movie, and something that Benedict Cumberbatch has said on their whole press tour is it was like watching God find water kind of thing, seeing Wes Anderson and Michael Cera working together, because it's the truth. You look at Michael Cera and the actor that he is and the shit that he does, it really works hand in hand with Wes Anderson's style. I don't think that it was utilized. Well, it was utilized great for his character in this, but
and Austin, you make a really good point. I think that in terms of the characters, I actually really enjoyed the performances.
Exactly.
I thought that Liesel, I think that Mia Threppleton did a great job portraying that character and kind of just the stone face deal.
Deadpan.
And I loved the whole I forgive you. And and there were all these funny little just recurring themes, the I forgive you after progressively worse atrocities were committed by Zaza, and she's like, "Oh, I forgive you." And even at a certain point, he's looking like, "What the fuck?" I thought that was funny.
She played the straight man. She definitely played the straight man.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too, Dad. And I thought that Zaza's whole, I myself feel very safe. I thought that was very funny.
That was. I almost laughed a couple of times.
Yeah,
I thought that's kind of funny.
What's that noise? Oh, this one got me. What's that noise? Well, it's the same noise I heard before the plane blew up the last time. However, that hasn't happened this time, so I myself feel very safe.
And they show the back. They show the back of the plane where Michael Cera is at. It's
right where that guy got sucked in half.
Right where he got blown up in half. Yeah.
So
I liked when he shot that guy out. The guy gives him this big tirade, that pilot at the beginning of the movie, and he says, "You're fired," and the guy's like, "What?" And he just like pops him out.
He did that a couple of times.
Well, the second time the guy was dead.
Griffin's laughing. He thinks it's funny.
Well, there's that other part. He comes up. He's like, "Oh, someone must have poisoned his beer." It's like, "You let him drink while flying? Only beer."
Yeah, only beer. Yeah, there's some good stuff, man.
No, there's good, but as a whole piece,
I wanted to ask you, Austin, because Dad, again, I think you got at something. I really liked what you were saying. You mentioned, like, hey, you're watching this movie, and I think what you take away is the cast. You're just kind of like, what the hell? Like, all of these characters, jammed together. Does Wes Anderson, Austin, does he have a point with this film? Is there a point at all?
Yes, I think there's a point.
I can't wait to hear this.
I think
what type of horse shit is Austin about to cook up right now?
Griffin, we are going to be enlightened. Right now, there's going to be an orb.
Dad, Bill Murray's going to come down with his fucked up beard is God, and he's going to
that was the
sanctify
absolute,
whatever Oz says.
That was it. Whatever they paid him, it was way too much. That was that was bad.
Well, Wes Anderson has a kind of recurring cast of people that he brings in and tries to make it kind of feel like almost like a play. There's a really cool thing that he does with all of his movies and how he shoots them. He gets every actor into a hotel. They shot this one in Germany. They get into a hotel. They have dinner together every night. So he creates this companionship. And in his best movies, and even in this one, the chemistry bleeds through into the movie. If they're having a fun time outside of the movie with each other, as people, that is going to bleed into the movie. And I think you do see good character stuff here. I just think the plot was just a little murky and messy in terms of what we're getting
Austin, is there a plot? Well, there is a plot.
Motherfucker, I'm getting to our point.
Thank you, Griffin. Griffin, he is just all over the place right now.
Prevarication, I think that's called,
Austin, land the damn plane.
These fucking assholes.
Circumlocution.
I was coming back to it. I was prefacing, and now here we go. To answer your question, in terms of a point, I think the biggest thing that you can grab from this is probably kind of the money element of it. Someone who's incredibly wealthy, rich, powerful, the atrocities that they kind of commit with that wealth. And then by the end of it, when we see that scene where he gives up all his money, he chooses to do the right thing, the good thing. And it's also a conversation about this father-daughter relationship. She is bringing him back to the light side. In the end, he sends all his money out. It bankrupts himself to make this thing work. And it's for Phoenicia, the country, to help them out infrastructurally. I think that's the whole thing about the fucking gap. That's the point.
He pays the slaves.
He pays. Exactly. That's what I mean. The slaves were paid. And I thought that was funny throughout it where he's like, oh yeah, we got slaves. he's saying it so nonchalantly, like it's like he's committing these atrocities. He's a terrible person. But through this journey with his daughter, she even says in the beginning, it's like maybe his intention is to make me do good with this money. She says that maybe it's actually his intention. She mentions that at one point. And by the end of it, he bankrupts himself and he lives a modest life. And you got to think he's probably happiest because no one's trying to assassinate the guy anymore because he's got this rich, powerful guy that has money to be taken from. He's living modestly. He's running a restaurant. At the end of the movie, they sit down, him and his daughter, and they play a game of cards after a hard day's work at the restaurant.
I do think that I think you're on to something, but I think you're being a little bit generous in the way of like, the way that these themes are developed, at least in my opinion, and I don't know what you think, Dad.
I think it's the point. Do you think he really effectively portrayed the point?
It's again, it's kind of just characteristic of the movies that I've seen of his. What's he laughing about?
I have no idea.
I'm like, here he goes. It's coming. Get him, Griff. I know where you're going.
No. I'm just saying. I do think it's very just. The Wes Anderson movies that I have seen, there's a very detached flow in terms of the emotionality. It's all very detached. Everything about it. Like even did you love my mother? I was very fond of her. Smacks him, and it's like, that's like a very emotional moment, but even the way that it's played, it's so straight. And, I think that's done on purpose, but what it actually affects on me is you don't get your heart into it. Everything is so like, it's kind of just jilted, and it's really static in this way that is not very human. That's an interesting way to say it. It's like, it's not human the way these things happen. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to get your heart into it. And I mean, there were a few moments where like the relationship between Zaza and Liesel, I think you could kind of feel a little bit of that. And you're like, oh, damn, he's really like, this girl means a lot to him. But the way it's all developed just... if the whole point is you're going to get to this, like family tie thing, I don't know. It's like, I don't think it was done super successfully myself.
It's too convoluted. It's too all over the space. We include and involve far too many characters that just kind of rip you out of what was flowing well. Those 3 characters in the core, if we could have followed them kind of closer and not just jump around and introducing a lot of different people, I think it, all of his movies have that like kind of non-human quality to them in terms of the conversations. It's very much not how realistic things happen. Like, this isn't how it happens in real life, these conversations, these things, and there is an attachment to it. But in his best movies and his movies that work, by the end of it, not even by the end of it, throughout it, you're wholly invested in these characters. And that's why I kind of wanted you guys to watch The Grand Budapest Hotel before, because that is an example. It's his most commercially, kind of successful movie, I would say. In that example, the characters of Gustav, Mansour Gustav and Zero, you love those fucking guys. That story's great. That one's amazing. But in this one, there's never that point where you feel like you've fully jumped into the water. You're kind of halfway in, you start to believe it, and then through the convolution, the messiness of it, you kind of just get fully detached from the characters and don't really know what the fuck's going on, and honestly don't fucking care. So when you get to the end and that payoff scene of him releasing his wealth, getting rid of it, choosing to do the right thing, and choosing this life with his daughter, the simple, modest life, it's not as effective, and it doesn't hit home the way that it was meant.
I think you hardly even know what the fuck you're watching, because it's like, what I mean?
There it is.
It's true though, because it's like you have this scene with Nubar, and he blows up on the fucking set piece of the Phoenician Scheme, like the grand reveal or whatever, what it's gonna be. He fucking blows up, and you're just damn confused as to what is happening, what this whole scene is. Next thing you know, you cut to him cooking in the little like, what is it, like a little car or something that his restaurant's in?
I think it's just a small little, I don't know if it matters.
It's tiny, but it's like, you don't even know what you're looking at.
And, so and Griffin, at that point, do you really even give a shit? I mean, that's how bad it is.
Exactly. It's like
you don't give a shit. And say this, Griffin. We've got Bill Murray, Tom Hanks. We got Benedict in it. We got Bryan Cranston in it. William Dafoe.
Oh yeah, Willem Dafoe's in there.
It's like okay, you got all of these. Jeffrey Wright, your guy, Austin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do y'all think about our boy popping up, old Isaac?
Old Isaac, but also Scott Shepherd, who is David in the first season of The Last of Us, makes a very brief appearance.
You've got all of these guys, and one of the things that I'm kind of looking at.
Was Scott Shepherd that horrible guy, Austin?
Yeah, the guy that took Ellie. Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. You go on.
You're fine. And it's got what's his name? F. Murray Abraham's in it. I mean, that's the fella from Mozart I was telling you all about.
No, he's in Grand Budapest Hotel too. He's old Zero.
Yes. He was kind of telling the story from what the little I could take. Guys, but you're as a businessman, I'm watching this going, you're paying these cats a lot of money. And do you really give a shit that that's Tom Hanks?
Here's the thing. He actually doesn't. I'm sure he pays them a good amount of money, but his thing is actors like working for him, so they will work for less, and every actor works for the same amount of money too. He makes it like there's no totem pole. He makes it he makes it exactly even throughout, and you got to want to do it. And the thing that I think we watched a video that really kind of is a good look into maybe how these movies are getting made.
That would have been a good deal for Scarlett Johansson. She's getting the same amount of money just on screen for what, like 2 minutes?
Well, Bill Murray too. Well, I mean, I don't know how it all comes out. I'm sure there's probably some kind of element that there's a difference.
He's going back on that one, isn't he, Dad?
Well, this is what is said, but
that he is.
Wes Anderson has had someone funding his movies.
Yeah, regardless, there's a billionaire that I read that somewhere.
There's no creative restrictions. There's no one kind of keeping him in line.
That's obvious.
In these past 3 films, I think one thing we can really say is they're just a little, maybe just too self-indulgent. Like they get too far into his genre to where you kind of lose the element of maybe a typical movie, for lack of a better term there, where it has a more linear plot. There's so much jumping around, and it can be done really well. I wish you would have been able to watch Grand Budapest Hotel. The fact that your dad didn't like that one tells us that, we weren't in a good place to go to this movie. But
something I'm kind of bouncing around in my own head, which is interesting. And I kind of, again, with you being a bit more versed in his films, I would like to know, is it that, like, because, we kind of mentioned this detached style, this very non-human, non-realistic way of things. Is it that he's essentially just using these actors as set pieces to kind of portray these deeper themes, and maybe just developing them, or at least like presenting them in this way that isn't superhuman, but that I guess more specifically touches the theme he's wanting? Like, does that make any sense at all? Like almost stripping away some of the idiosyncrasy of being a person and personality so as to just more
like a caricature kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So I think he's a very literary guy. He's done 2 different kind of pieces on Roald Dahl books,
and not to distract, but I thought that the Netflix short series he did, what was that called, Austin?
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and
I thought
3
that thing
more.
was great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. That was super fun.
And those work in a way because, they are short films, so maybe it wouldn't have held up for the entire thing. But, they work really well, the storytelling element. That's what I mean. He's so divisive. It can work. It can work really well. It can really, his best movies leave you with that kind of warm, nostalgic hug, I would say. There's a lot of nostalgia and almost childhood whimsical things.
Whimsy. Yeah. That's fair.
I'm surprised we haven't even said that word yet. We're 40 minutes or whatever into this. We've
been talking for 40 minutes about this thing?
We've been talking for 33 minutes, so not 40 yet. But whimsical is the thing. And
we might have to end it now. Who's going to listen to 33 minutes of this?
Well, we'll get into our categories here, and then we'll talk about legacy and staying power. We'll move on because we've kind of analyzed it to death. The main point is we didn't love it. I don't think it effectively got to that point where the things he was trying to convey worked. It's just too scattered. It's too all over the place.
Yeah.
And, that's the ultimate thing. I'm not going to say it's a terrible movie because it's visually stunning. The actors perform well. There's really good parts. I thought the intro was great. I saw something that said Phoenician Scheme is if, it was a Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson movie. And I was like, when I saw that first guy get sucked out of the plane and he's in half and there's that kind of artistic style with the blood where it's almost like Play-Doh. That shit is hilarious. I think would work awesome if you had this shootout heist movie where you have the violence in it being kind of goofy and Play-Doh type blood. That would lend into, I think, a really good movie, but there's just so much there's not enough that happens in this movie, I don't think. And the intro's strong. I think the horse scene is really funny because then you get that dialogue between Bjorn and Liesel in the car where Bjorn gets drunk off 3 beers. I thought that was hilarious. Just his dialogue there. It's do you think you could ever love someone like me, or whatever the fuck his accent is, or it. Yeah. And I thought that was honestly maybe one of the better parts is their kind of development and relationship where they just kiss before he dives into the quicksand.
Oh yeah, that was good. I did enjoy their relationship in a way.
Exactly. So we talked about a lot of the things we don't like. Let's talk about the things that we did like with it in terms of characters. Let's hop into
You start, Dad.
Who's your favorite character?
Benicio. No doubt. Again, the first third, as I started out, the first third of the movie, I enjoyed his character. He reminded me, and I said, of Inspector Clouseau. I thought he was charming. He had some really funny dry one-liners. His face was so stern, unhuman-like in a lot of ways that I didn't laugh. But I think if he would have kind of smiled or quirked but he was a dry character. But he is a phenomenal actor. He carried the movie for me. Normally, I got to be honest, I ate a whole box of popcorn, one of the large during the movie. It kept me entertained like a small child. But I never fell asleep. So
only briefly.
It was, I was, I was dozing there for a while.
Egyptian Mike Ost?
Egyptian Mike just about.
A lot of Egypt in this movie, right? Yeah. So what do you got to say about that Egyptian Mike?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. I didn't get it. Even Egyptian Mike didn't get it, but I did notice that.
Would you like to be, cremated, put in a tiny little sphinx and put into a tiny little pyramid? I guess, what do you call that? That mausoleum kind of little thing that he did at the end. Whatever. Terrible reference.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. As long as Wes Anderson didn't do it. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. How about that? Guys, and I'm sure we'll get to it. But no, Benicio was definitely my favorite. And that Michael Cera, I think he did a phenomenal job for what he was doing. And again, guys, I really don't know what they were doing. I don't know. It just never went anywhere for me.
There were a lot of good pieces, but they didn't work in the whole puzzle.
Well, Austin, let me say this.
The characters were good. They were funny.
At the end of the movie, and Austin was just, you could tell he was befuddled. I got to be honest with you. The dude was befuddled to try to come up with some BS to tell me, hey, that was pretty good. No,
I didn't say that.
But we're looking. I'm watching the audience, and there was a young lady. You can tell. She was in probably her sophomore year of art class. She was trying to sell it. Hey, that's just the way Wes Anderson does. And she was telling like 8 people what they just saw, and they were all just deer in a headlight. Like, what did I just see?
Well, it's interesting because
did you notice that?
It's funny that we look at this kind of divisiveness. We discussed this. 2 people left the movie during the middle of it. At the end of the movie, these people are raving about it, talking about it.
Raving,
yeah,
really?
Well, this group of people.
She was blowing smoke. I'm going to.
They were joining into.
Quick question. In your guys' theater, did people clap after the movie was done?
No,
they didn't.
And I will say it was funny, and I got to see this at this really awesome theater in Lexington called the Kentucky Theater. It's got it's just like the classic 20s, 30s theater that you would, think.
With like the marquee. And
it is incredible. Yeah. Been there.
It is awesome. It's a great place to see a movie.
Great venue.
And I think that kind of plays into it. Like, I think people that are going to the Kentucky Theater really want that experience. So I'm super glad it was showing there. After the movie was done, like one person starts going like in this really like odd way, and then you just kind of see everyone around the theater start going. Wow. And we ended up doing like this kind of half-assed clap. But it really was like kind of funny. It was like I've been in there before where after the movie everyone's like, yeah! And, like with this one, it was more just like,
yeah, no one knew what to do.
What did we just watch?
Griff, did you clap? Did you give it the golfer's clap?
Yeah, I gave it the golfer's clap.
I
did.
God.
I was there.
You fell right in.
I'll say something awesome. I'll say about my movie experience. I had just picked up some Hawaiian barbecue in town.
Ooh,
listen to this. I got to the Hawaiian barbecue place kind of late. I was going to sit down and eat, but I was like, you know what? I don't have time. I just grabbed this like kind of styrofoam tray thing and wheel it into my car. and I just head straight to the theater, and I walked in that place like I freaking owned it, and I just ate my barbecue teriyaki chicken in the movie. It was awesome, man. Now that was a real win.
Hey, Griffin, it's like the popcorn for me. That was the best thing of that movie.
Yeah, your dad and I had popcorn.
Yes, we did.
I hadn't eaten a thing. I've done it before, where you walk in with the water bottle, and maybe I'm revealing my secrets, but I've put some wine in my water bottle before.
Yeah. Oh, we
did you do that this time?
I did not do it this time. I probably should have. But
what's your all's favorite scenes, guys?
Well, we're still on.
I'm sorry, your favorite character.
So Mike picked our boy Zaza, who, like I said, he was a good character.
You can
He was
add
a pretty
to it.
good front man for
Obvious choice.
Yeah. But with these kids, like they seemed younger. I wonder what their experience with Wes Anderson is. Obviously, you would think that they've seen the older ones, the ones where I think he really was kind of on the right path. But Griff, give us your favorite character here.
Bjorn. I thought Michael Cera's Bjorn was funny. I liked both versions of him.
Yes.
I liked him as the goofball who studied insects and who was the tutor. I thought that he was funny then. I thought he was charming. I thought the way that he spoke with Liesel was really sweet and kind of one of the more endearing parts of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then when he had the character flip and he kicks Benicio 30 feet out and, he's like this, he's this damn spy. I liked him then too, when he had a little bit more cool to him.
Like a rebel without a cause kind of guy.
Yeah, his character was really nice. And I'll also share that I have recently watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World for the first time ever. That's a crazy movie, but it's really fun. Mm-hmm. And maybe something I'm realizing, just as you say that Michael Cera should probably be a recurring character in the Wes Anderson world.
Of course.
I think that I'm a damn Michael Cera fan. I really like his work. He's funny, and he really pulls it off.
Apparently, he can be a bit of a prick on set. Not from his one, but that's what the Hollywood rumblings are. And maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Oh. The way those things can be misconstrued. I would double down, man. My favorite character was Bjorn. I think there were other good things. One thing that I think you failed to miss here is you said when he was an insect lover the first time. Remember, he was that was through and through. That was I thought that was a funny
teaching. I thought something that was kind of cute was the dung beetle. He was sitting watching that dung beetle dragging that shit around. I thought that was kind of cute.
What did he say? He was like, "Oh, my friend, you have quite the journey ahead of you."
Yeah, and he was rolling that shit, wasn't he? It was funny.
Yeah. No, Bjorn was definitely the best character.
No doubt.
I liked both versions of him as well. I thought that was really funny when they revealed it. He's like, I'm actually quite similar, in my other ways. Like, so he still loves bugs through and through. This one goes out to the bugs. Bjorn,
bugs.
Liesel was great. It's tough, man. Like the characters were good. I thought in X Factor, Leland and Reagan, which were Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston, let's put them as a character themselves, as a singular character, because they were like that tandem duo. I thought that scene was really good. The horse one, it was funny. But other than that, I wouldn't say anyone was my favorite. I liked Sergio, the leader of the militia who came in shooting guns. I liked Marseille Bob when he's like, "Why are you shooting my ceiling?"
Yeah.
I know it's a robbery, but why are you shooting my ceiling? This is a beautiful nightclub.
I did like Marseille Bob. I also thought it was funny with the terrorists that they shot Zaza, and they're like, "That was not necessary. We apologize."
Yeah.
It was kind of like just this hilarious, just the satire of all of that, I thought was really something kind of nice. Or I like the whole question, there was a religious theme too, and I'm sure we'll be getting into that, but there was that religious theme, and I liked in the train car when she's like, "Oh, so you believe in God?" He said, "No, I'm an atheist, of course." Yeah, we all are, except some of us. How did he say it? He said, "Some of us have not been totally truthful," and the guy's at a freaking altar or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, but
yeah. Well, all right, let's move into our scenes. I'll kick this one off here. Favorite scene, and this is where it gets kind of rough because the characters work, but I think a lot of the scenes don't. Maybe in terms of how much you like them. Some good ones. The intro, I think you kind of you're feeling the momentum there. The Nublar fight, I think your dad liked that one, but a goofy one. Bjorn as a spy, I think that reveal and that crash and like the dialogue that they have when they're kind of cozied up in the plane crash and talking and hanging out. And like, I think that's when Benicio really is revealing his kind of love for Liesel in a way. You're feeling a bit more of that there. I would say my favorite scene is the horse scene though. It's goofy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Wes Anderson. And I feel a lot of that warmth too in that scene with the characters of Liesel and Bjorn in the car. And it's funny. They're in there talking and then that horse game's going on outside, right outside the door. And the ball hits the window in the middle of it because they missed the shot so damn bad.
Yeah.
I think that scene's good. That's my favorite scene.
I think that's fair. And that'd probably be my favorite scene too. I did like the Marseille Bob moments. Yeah. I thought he was funny.
Yep.
But in here, I thought that with Jeffrey Wright, Marty, I'm seeing was
we barely talked about him. Yep.
He was funny to me because in The Last of Us, obviously he plays this super serious character, and that's how I've always seen that actor portrayed, like in the Hunger Games too. But I feel like in this one, like just hearing him speak with that, hey, what's going on, guys? hey, you sit here, you sit right here, and all of that funny stuff. I was like, damn, that's interesting to see this guy right now doing that. And I liked when I did kind of like the whole idea of him going to these kind of odd investors and trying to get money out of them. Mm-hmm. And at the end, he said, I need you to give me 20%. And the guy says, I'll give you your 20% or whatever. After how long? He said, I don't really believe it's going to work. However, I suppose I've been charmed by this unorthodox way and crazy event. I want to see you orchestrate it all or whatever.
After pulling the pin on the grenade, he's like, I'm charmed by your, basically your craziness here.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. So I did like that.
He wants to see the confrontation between him and Nublar at the end. His cousin or what is it? It's his brother. It's his brother.
His brother, yeah.
Jeez, what an idiot. Yeah. But I thought a really good thing that maybe, I haven't seen this in a Wes Anderson film, or maybe I'm not kind of not recalling a time when it's done. But when Liesel slapping Zaza, and he goes and turns, and you see Jeffrey Wright's face each time. He gets slapped, and then you see Jeffrey Wright's face. I thought that was kind of effective and funny, where he's like looking at him like, you asshole, or whatever the hell the faces that he's making. But yeah, I think that's a fun little scene and a good way to talk about our boy Jeffrey a little bit more.
Yeah, so maybe I like those investor scenes. I did think those were kind of fun.
Yeah, Mike,
guys, the fight scene was that almost got me. I love again. I'm picking on this film, but the way the camera work where it had Benedict's face, Nublar's face right in the screen. That was kind of funny. If I'd have had a moment more, I might have laughed. That because they were going at it and just seeing his eyebrows and his face and
guy.
That was one hell of a fight.
Yeah, you did say in the moment there, he's like, oh, this is the best scene.
Yeah, and also the other thing that we really haven't touched on, we talk about, every scene is like a picture, the way he gets you to focus on whatever he wants you to focus on, whether it's a person, whether it's a picture, whether it's a box. Mm-hmm. But he really draws you in, especially with the colors. How he does that, but that face of Benedict's was really Nublar, Uncle Nublar. He's not human,
Yeah, and then we get
what did he keep saying about him now? I did think that was funny. He's biblical. Yeah, I did think that was kind of
so there is this God conversation with it, and evil and good, and I guess that's maybe what ultimately turns Zaza to the good side, because Benedict Nublar is this biblical evil. He's just bad. He just wants to lick him, you, or whatever the hell the line is. But he just wants to get him. He wants a leg up. He just wants to, big dick the guy. Really, is what it is.
Don't you think Uncle Nublar was actually, and what's her name?
The father?
Yes.
Of Liesel?
Yeah, Liesel. I think that's kind of the point. I was
going to butcher her name. Liesel.
I think that makes it a little...
Well, guys, they get, again, when they
bring...
eyes. They had the eyes. Yeah. Those big blue eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's good and kind of makes Benicio's character a little more redeeming because, you know, he loves this daughter that isn't even his too. So I think that's kind of, it's an interesting kind of, I think that's an effective kind of piece that it isn't actually his daughter, but he loves her like one. I think that's, you know, that affection is redeeming in a lot of ways. And I think that's a lot of the point with the character is the redemption of this Zaza character that was a terrible guy. But
and I guess they're like all of the God scenes.
He's on trial.
Like where he's on trial. I guess that's just like kind of showing his character development.
I thought it was almost Scrooge-like, right? The story isn't that kind of funny? Like through this journey, like he becomes more and more like someone that would go to heaven instead of hell.
Well, those were all they were all essentially near-death experiences too, right? Like every time he would have one of these near-death moments, he would go up to this black and gray, like you said, and you know, be with God and
am I on trial here?
Yeah. Willem Dafoe, and all of those crazy things where you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
That shit was that was probably a little bit astronaut out of this world for me in a crazy way, but like, you know, maybe it was a little bit interesting. I'm sure that 20 years down the line, someone's going to break that down and be like, this was magnificent. And like you know what I mean?
Asteroid City has some of those same break scenes where it cuts to black and white, and there's some other kind of narrative and discussion going on that's really abstract and rhetorical, and it's like, what's going on? It took a little bit for me to recognize, but this one's pretty straightforward. Zaza's on trial.
Here's a question. Did Zaza pay off that nun so that the nun would tell Liesel to renounce being a nun? Did he pay that woman off, or did it just kind of happen that way?
I think this is funny, and I thought about this, and I'm really glad you brought that up because I almost, you know, I think it's interesting because there's a conversation about God and there's a conversation about religion. I think it's just kind of one of those things that kind of shows the fickle nature of religion too, because it's like, oh, you're a nun, you're devoted to God, but hey, you're going to inherit a lot of wealth. This is good for the church. This is good for the nuns. Maybe, no. What your mission is we need you to be the heir to this fortune.
Oh, I didn't pick it up that way. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so it's like...
And then he loses the fortune.
But I did
like how...
It's used for good.
I did like how Liesel at that point says, I didn't... Because he just says, screw it. I'm going to put in the other 50% of the gap. I'm going to pay it.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think she just said something like, I don't need the fortune. You know, I forget what she was saying she did want, but I mean, I think like the little family thing going on with her and Zaza and Bjorn was nice. Again, I will say we keep getting sucked into these moments that we did like and these kind of little funny things that were happening. Mm-hmm. I like the other recurring theme of,
let's give Theme some things here.
Well, she accepts Bjorn's proposal. Bjorn says, hey, could you imagine marrying a fella like me? And she's like, what do you mean? And he pops out the ring, says, here you go. He's like, oh, is that a fake ring? And he's like, well, no. Well, actually, it's the same ring that your dad was going to give to old cousin.
His cousin.
To his cousin for that bullshit betrothment or whatever. But I did like how she's wearing it in that final poker scene, and Zaza looks and says, oh, you said yes. And she goes, on a trial basis.
Yeah.
Kind of like the whole... I thought that was kind of funny and a nice tie-in.
There are redeeming qualities. I think we do see that. I think talking through it, we've maybe even come to like some parts a little more than we even thought we did. In a way.
Dad's shaking his head.
That's fine. We need that guy. We need
Dad,
him.
get us to shut the hell up. Get us the theme.
Griffin,
theme and things. I know his theme. Egypt.
Well, Austin, shut up. Let my dad go.
Guys, I'm listening to you all. You're doing everything you can to make this like, it was terrible. Let's face it. It was Austin. People got up and left the movie.
That can be a good sign though, too.
Sure.
Let me say this to you guys. I went and saw a movie called Scanners, for those of you that have been around a while. And there's a scene where a guy is sitting there. This is great. We got video, Austin. And the guy is sitting at a boardroom table, and they put like this this like sonic shock on him, and he's boom, his head completely blows up at the table. And I'm probably 14, 15 years old at the time. And I'm with a date, and I look at her like, oh my God, I've messed up. Let's go. We got up and left that movie, and there were people following us. It was that bad.
I like that goofy stuff though.
How long had you been in the movie?
Griffin, that was within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the movie.
Did you just say we're going to another one?
We did. We actually went to another movie. I think.
Can you remember what the other movie was?
Griffin, I was going to say, I think it was Jaws.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
This guy's a real big movie guy, isn't he? This guy walked out of Jaws.
No, this wasn't Jaws.
Oh, okay.
No, this was Scanners.
I thought you were saying he walked out of Jaws.
He walked out of Scanners and went to Jaws, is what he's saying.
I did.
Okay, my bad.
And that scared the hell out of me, by the way. But this one, guys, I get it. There's some cute things. You've got, let's face it, you've got phenomenal actors in this movie. I mean,
and let's say characters. The characters could have been a lot. Like, if it was just, I just think the story falls.
Yeah, phenomenal characters is a real stretch.
I'm not saying phenomenal. But
I think,
there's good ones.
I think Benicio did a great job. I think Kate Winslet's daughter was, I think she's going to be a star down the road.
Let me run this by you. Who did a bad job? Which character was bad?
I thought Bill Murray looked like an asshole.
Well, I mean, hell,
I thought Bill Murray looked like an asshole.
You're calling God
Tom
an
Hanks,
asshole, huh?
Tom Hanks and Brian. I don't even know why they were in the movie, other than for a guy like me that loves basketball to watch these two. Woo, come on, that was embarrassing.
The character that I think was the most kind of mistreated maybe in the story, or
Scarlett Johansson,
not used as the cousin Scarlett Johansson. It's just like, I mean, you brought her in to say she talked weird. I didn't even like her accent.
No.
I thought it was a little fucking weird.
Or was it supposed to be like kind of country? Like,
I don't even know. That's like Scottish too. Like, what was it?
Yeah.
But I just think her character was kind of pointless. But other than that, I think the characters were decent. I just don't, we've said it enough. But themes and things. What's your favorite theme and thing, Mike? Let's just do it.
He's picking for straws. I'm going to be honest.
Egypt.
Austin, I am
final. What do they say? Final vote, or what's that called? And Jeopardy, Dad, or whatever the hell it is. Final answer.
Final answer.
Buzz it in.
Final answer. I don't know. I mean, maybe greed. I don't know. Greed. No, I would hope that it's love between a father and a daughter.
Yeah, I think that's
that's what I'm going to go with.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't know what the hell I watched.
Yep, I hear you. That's all right. You, Griff.
I have two of them. It'd be moral ambiguity and redemption.
Now we're coming back.
Good
Lord. The thing is
this the last
redemption?
Oh yeah. Hey, what is it?
Hey Griffin, this was the Phoenician Scheme. This was not The Last of Us.
No, what was the one that you liked? That Truth? Was I saying Truth?
You said it 4 weeks in a row. Truth.
What?
I think the answer is truth.
I know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Truth.
No, what happened? I mean, the thing is, moral ambiguity in the way of you like Zaza, right? He's talking about owning slaves, and this work is going to be done by.
We got him on a stipend.
There's no other way around it. Yeah, we have him on a stipend. He's firing people out of planes. Did you kill my mother? No. They say you've killed all your wives. He disinherits his sons, whatever the fuck it is. He does a lot of fucked up shit, but the whole time you like him, and the whole time you see like this good thread in the guy, and there's something you enjoy, and by the end of the movie, he's cooking, he's owning his place, he's a good dishwasher, he's a good cook, and that's what he's doing with his daughter. I think that was kind of, and I think the whole him going through heaven and all of these various judgments and whatever it was, I think by the end of it, I believe you are supposed to believe he has earned some kind of redemption.
Yeah, it's that.
And he tells Liesl, he says, hey, I think I'm going to side with you on this religion thing. Can I be baptized? All of these crazy things, whatever it is. But those would be my themes: moral ambiguity, redemption.
I think redemption is, definitely a huge one within this. And he has his family now, and he gives the ring to Bjorn to, propose to his daughter. So I think it's kind of nice to see those warm-hearted sides of him. In the end, I'll just go with like the kind of that evil and good, discussion within this, and the evil guy turned into the good, I guess, in a way. And I think
damn, Dad, Austin's really stretching himself with this one, isn't he?
True.
Bad and good.
Hey, how about truth?
Evil and good. What the fuck do y'all want? I mean, we're talking about God. We're talking about heaven and hell. That's what it is, right? That's the judgment.
No, I think, honestly, I really don't know.
Well, that's good. Money, power, corruption, and the releasing of that, the releasing.
How about,
I'm still not totally certain that Wes Anderson had a point at all, though.
I think he got lost.
I would say by that.
I think he got lost.
What was the score on this one, Austin?
IMDb, I would give it a 6.3. I didn't love it.
Oh, that's high.
I'd give it a 6.
What about you, Dad? Wait, let's hear what you have to say.
6.3.
What's your score, Dad? A 3. Okay.
If you were going to
give it a 0 or a 1, I was going to be like, dude, there's worse things than that.
So Griffin, I walked out of Scanners. There was another one. I don't know the name of it. There was a guy that ended up with a rock head, and I can't think of the name of the movie. That was
it Spawn?
Spawn. Spawn. Those are I couldn't think of the other one. I've walked out of 2 movies in my time. Scanners and Spawn.
That's funny.
I remember that being on the TV when I was younger, and you'd being like that. My dad being like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen."
Yeah.
God, that's funny.
That's great that you remember that.
Yeah, I think for me, Ost, I was gonna say I was kind of debating if it was a 5 or lower for me.
Oh.
It might be
Griffin. I'm gonna go with lower.
Well, I would say it's middle of the line. I'm just going to go with a 5 to 5.1.
Yep.
And the reason I say that, maybe I can rate movies a little bit high. To me, there are enjoyable aspects. Some of it's kind of fun. And I myself would actually rewatch it, but I would want to rewatch it. I would want to rewatch it with subtitles on.
Yeah.
With captions.
Sure.
What I mean.
Absolutely.
I would like to watch it with captions so that I actually understood everything that was being said. And I would like to watch it with a little bit more context and understanding, because I think there could be maybe a more rich experience with more of that knowledge.
Well, and I mean, guys, let me say this, Griffin. If you and Austin watch this, you might want to gather up your buddy Eugene and watch that, because I think that will be much more enjoyable with old Eugene.
I think, I think it's a really good point what you make there, Griffin.
With Eugene? Yes, I agree.
Well, all right, Mike. Yeah, but in terms of you've listened to albums before where the first time doesn't kind of grab as much as
a good point.
And then you listen through again, and then you're like, oh shit, there you go.
I get it.
So that could happen, and I do think it's forced a conversation. Hell, guys, we've talked for over an hour. Maybe we're a little too self-indulgent here. But
yeah.
Well, let's face it, it's you two assholes. I would have been done in 30.
There's been a discussion. We've had fun talking about it. I'm not upset about it.
What was the score?
6.9 is what.
No way.
Oh my God.
I don't even know if it goes lower, man. That might just be part of what it is. So maybe I say 6.2, but it wasn't amazing by any means. In terms of legacy and staying power, it's not one of his best. Mike, what I really implore you to do, and I'm going to ask you to do this, maybe we can watch it together. I would like you to watch Royal Tenenbaums, which is one of his, it's one of his earliest. No, listen. It's one of his earliest, and it's a lot less like this. There's elements of it that are goofy, quirky, fun, but I think it hits a lot harder. Speaking about that movie, R.A.P., Gene Hackman, who plays the Royal Tenenbaum in it. But it's a brilliant role. It's one of his best. I think you should watch that one just to understand. I know Wes Anderson's not your guy. That's absolutely apparent here.
Austin just said that Gene Hackman's best movie was that. That is.
I didn't say it was best.
Austin didn't say that.
God,
he just lies on this mic. We gotta.
What did you do? Hey, rewind that.
We need to put him on trial. We need to go see Bill, man.
What did you say about Gene Hackman?
I said
that's one of his better movies.
It's one of his greatest. Yeah.
You
haven't seen
The French Connection? Oh my God.
He's not. Griff, what do we do about this guy? The Royal Tenenbaums.
I'm telling you,
one word right in
for
it.
those over 40 years old that are listening to this, I'm trying to fight for you guys. These two assholes do not know movies at all. I mean, there are good movies out there. I've begged them.
He said he walked out of Jaws.
No, I did not walk out of Jaws.
Now what an asshole.
That's good.
What an asshole.
I love this camera. This is kind of fun. I can point at it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, guys,
we'll see how
I've been begging these guys, go see The Accountant. Go see The Accountant 2. I mean, let's go see a movie with some meat.
Austin, I know we should be kind of rebuking this behavior right now, but I will give him some credit. He was incredibly skeptical prior to actually seeing this movie. This is not my dad's cup of tea. He was a trooper. He went and saw it. He hung out.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he
fell
did it,
asleep
and
once.
he's playing the game now.
Hey,
so, like, I got to give him credit.
Griffin,
I agree.
please add what I told you the other night when I called you, because Austin said watch the Grand Budapest. Did you hear what I did for the Grand Budapest?
Somehow you watched 30 to 40 minutes of another movie thinking.
Poor Things.
What was it, Austin?
Poor Things with Emma Stone, which also won Oscars, but that's a freaky weird one.
That was wild. So I'm telling you, I'm in it to win it with this. I did put in the time. I did have a great time with Austin last night watching this. Again, I did not fall asleep. I might have dozed off for a moment, but I will tell you that I tried. I really tried with this. I did.
Let's be honest,
it's
guys.
just not my cup of tea.
No, this wasn't our cup of tea, me and Griffin either. This one was.
Oh, no.
It really wasn't. I mean, when I say 6.2, that's pretty low. And fuck, man, like at the end of the day, good for us, I guess, for doing this, our first movie episode on this. We talked for an hour about it. We need to get the fuck out of here.
That's amazing.
We need to get the fuck out of here. But
we
we
do
did
awesome.
talk about it. I think that we had a great conversation, right?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun, and I'm excited for what's coming up on the Purple Podcast. I feel like we got a lot of good ideas cooking. Obviously, we're very excited about it all, and I'm having more and more fun, guys. So let's keep it rolling. I think is my dad's pick the next one for a movie.
Yeah, his next one's him. I don't know if he had it. We probably should have had that prepared just so we could leave him on something.
I haven't been prepared for anything on any of the shows, so why start now?
Yeah.
But we will come up with one, Austin.
We'll have a good one, and let's do one that's probably a little more universally liked. How about that? So maybe a rewatchable one. But
guys, we can do that.
Fun.
Yeah. So let's get our Jesus Christ, guy. Let's get our goodbyes in here. Mike, I'll let you begin.
Austin, first of all, let me say, video, you did a fantastic job. This is this is kind of fun. Really
sweating in this coat.
He's tried so bad to show off this sports coat and this
I'm
t-shirt.
sweating in this fucking coat, man. It's like an interview or something.
Hey, I had a great cowboy hat to wear today, but with these headphones, I couldn't make it happen. But again, guys, appreciate y'all having me on. I know I was Mr. Negative with you all, but I do want to tell it like it is.
Well, we have to.
Again, thank you. We did have a good time last night. I'll leave it at that.
We had a good time last night.
We
We had a good time today talking about it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's all that matters.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what the point of it is. Obviously, like I said, I just keep having fun. I've enjoyed hanging out so much, and on to the next one, guys.
All right. Well, guys, we'll get on out of here. We talked for a little too long. We're just as self-indulgent as Wes here, I think. But we had a blast doing it. Those that are listening, sending love out to you. We always appreciate it. Hey, spread the news. The Purple Podcast is here to stay. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep having a whole lot of fun. So I'll leave it at that, guys. Be good. Bye-bye.